I'm 39 years old, never married, no children. I am nice looking, others like me. In my youth, I was in several long-term relationships to attract them by their appearance, but I could not keep their interest. I used to think that my smarmy face is a gift for any man. I try to work on myself, tightened the economy, bought an apartment, but as for men, I decided that sticky do not want to be, and otherwise do not know how, and locked in a tower, closed. And my tower is the absence of men. Yes, and life a little my hubris reduced, but still catch myself that I think that I should achieve not ordinary men and princes. But now once again I found myself in a situation where I do not understand where my joint, where the drain, and on what steps I have KP. What are my mistakes? Many of my relationships began and ended, but without the proposal of serious relationships, and I stopped communicating. Periodically, after years of sitting alone in my life, began to return male interest. He in general has always been, but in recent years more buddy-friendly, and here appeared exactly the romantic interest of different men. Often, alas, married. I noticed that I began to wear dresses, feminine suits, and heels more often instead of comfortable, simple clothes. I have been working in another city for several years, and I go there sometimes to visit friends. A little over a month ago, I was spending an evening at a restaurant behind the bar when suddenly I saw him entering the restaurant. He sat at the bar a few chairs away from me. It was obvious that he was a frequent visitor. The staff knew him. Perhaps these are not the worst places for a serious acquaintance to spend an evening looking for men. Well, he came in. He looked in my direction, as if by accident. At some point at the bar between us sat other guests who began to swing rights, and we began to look at each other and smile, watching them. Then he started making signs to me with his eyes. His hints were not clear to me. I started to get ready to leave. He came over and offered not to leave, to keep him company. I said yes. We sat together for a few hours. I learned that he was 42 years old. He had a nice athletic appearance. He was not married, no children. My marital status he also clarified. Usually everyone is always surprised that I'm not married. It's a separate sore subject. I said that I am not local, but periodically visit the city. The next time I will be in about a month. It turned out that we work in similar organizations. His position is higher than mine, but not significantly. He comes from a working-class background. I'm an office worker. He emphasized this difference between us and was kind of puffed up. And he doesn't go to restaurants, and it's his first time here. Although we are both from small towns and each of us has made his way in the people, and he is clearly not the first time here, I saw it that way. He emphasized it even more with his special way of talking. The more he drank, the quicker he switched even to the mat. He told me himself that he drinks on the weekends. During the week he sticks to physical activity. At our age this is not a good look. Apparently he gets drunk rather than tasting intelligently. When we began to say goodbye in the bar, a fan appeared or said or asked if we will exchange phones. I said why not. We exchanged, hugged. I went to the hotel. He called as I was approaching the hotel and suggested we sit in my hotel and have another drink. I tensed up and like a navigator I made up my mind for everyone. No, I don't want a one-night stand or a long-distance relationship, so we'll sit at the bar and go home. Probably not even sitting at the bar was unnecessary. When I went down to the hotel bar, he managed to meet the guys sitting there and ordered cocktails for everyone. We chatted. They asked where we were from. Were we staying at this hotel? When the guys left, he sat close to me and tried to kiss me. I shook my head. He abruptly sat back down and gave me an assessment that I was too self-conscious. "You'll stay like this and die alone," he rejoiced. "And you should get married and have children," he wished. And I'd gathered my hair. I was upset, but not at his reaction, but at the fact that I really should get married and have children. And the fact that I was upset made me even more upset. I wished him a good evening and went to my room. His whole demeanor was ugly. He was hitting on strangers with alcohol, socializing with them and not with me, then abruptly kissed me. Yes, and the tone of the conversation was mocking. To my determination not to go with him to physical rapprochement was also added, thinking, why do I need contact with him? How will we communicate? I will not move, he too, but not for the sake of sex for one night. Although in general, I liked the man. Honestly, I did not expect to continue communication, but in the morning he wrote me, "Good morning," I replied. He called me back, asked me what I was doing and why I was having breakfast alone. And a good breakfast, according to him, is a naked good man and champagne. What are you going to remember in your old age? Eating breakfast alone? He was joking. That's the way he talked. I rather listened to him, mooing into the phone, maybe agreeing with what he was saying inappropriately. I'm gone. He texted a couple times in the month since we met. I asked him once if he was planning to come to my city. He asked, "Are you inviting?" I said I was just asking. He said he only comes here by invitation to spend time in pleasant company. I mean, I should invite him. I even regretted it. Why did I write to him? Soon I was on my way to a public event in his city. I offered him to join me. He thanked me for the invitation and said he would meet me after the event if I didn't mind. We discussed the date of the trip in correspondence. After he didn't write for a couple weeks, I didn't write myself either because I'm always afraid of being clingy and intrusive. I don't know how to understand interest with such rare communication. When the date of my trip came, I had a dilemma. Should I text him about my arrival? Does he need to? I decided that during these couple of weeks he could have lost interest in the meeting. He knew about the date, and once he did not write, then it was not fate. And why should I involve myself in a story with a man in another city? I settled down, had a good time, did not remember and did not regret my decision or the fact that the meeting did not take place, so it was all logical in my head. He called me when I was approaching the station for the return train, and I didn't hear his call. I texted him that I had gotten on the train and didn't hear the call. He called me 3 times after that, and each time the tone of the conversation changed. On his first call, we talked about how things were going in general. But not a word was said about our meeting. He didn't bring it up. Neither did I. He sounded a little sick. I inquired about his well-being and wished him well. I had a feeling that he spoke a little with sadness and decided that it had something to do with our failed meeting. So cheerfully texted him after the call that his voice sounded sad to me. He called a little later and started off by saying that I am a strong, independent woman, asked me how I had gone out on my own and what are my plans for my life in general. Am I going to get married, have kids? I asked him, do you have any suggestions for me? I guess we need to get to know each other a bit first, though. At this point, the call was interrupted the first time he reasoned that all women are waiting for a prince on a white horse. I asked him what color is his horse? He was even confused. When he called again, he immediately asked, why didn't you write that you came? The conversation was about nothing. So I decided to call it off. We wished each other good health, and that was the end of it. I want to understand what mistakes I made in this communication. I don't know if we'll be in contact with him again. Is it necessary for me and him? But I'll be in his town twice more soon. and I don't know whether to tell him I'm coming. I can see that he is not interested in the meeting, at least. It seemed to me that he expects that my interest is much greater than his. After all, I am a woman. I have to look for a potential husband. And I keep this man in my head for some reason. Subscribe to the channel, please. There are many more interesting stories ahead. Thank you.